The arena wasn't as big as he expected, but it was terrifying enough. The seats were packed with some demigods and plenty of terrifying monsters. On the opposite end was something that made absolutely no sense to Percy. A green banner with the trident of Poseidon. What was that doing in a horrible place like this? Below the banner, sitting on a throne, was Percy's old enemy, Luke. At his side stood the most misshapen giant Percy ever saw, with blood-red skin, dark eyes, and no nose. Percy wondered if he was Luke's new bodyguard or something. The giant raised his hands for silence.
"What have you brought me for tonight's match, Master Luke?"
"I believe I have something better than centaurs," Luke said. "My fellow monsters," he called, "mutants and demons, I present to you the most unique contestant yet. A child of the eldest gods, the annoying, the real barnacle-encrusted pain in the patella. Percy Jackson, son of Poseidon and brother of Antaeus." He pointed to the red giant, who apparently was the one he called Antaeus.
"A son of Poseidon, you say?"
Antaeus asked.
"Then he should fight well or die well."
"If his death pleases you, will you let my army cross your territory?" Luke asked.
"Perhaps,"
said the giant. Luke didn't look too pleased by that answer. He glared down at Percy as if warning him that he'd better die in a really spectacular way, otherwise he'd be in big trouble. "Luke!" Annabeth yelled. "Stop this! Just let us go!" Luke seemed to notice her for the first time, and he looked stunned for a moment. "Annabeth?"
"Enough times for the female to fight afterward," Antaeus interrupted. "First, Percy Jackson, what weapons will you choose?"
Percy stared up at Antaeus and asked, "How can you be a son of Poseidon?" Antaeus laughed his ugly head off.
"I am his favorite son," he boomed. "Behold my arena to the Earthshaker, decorated with the skulls of all those I've killed in his name."
He wasn't thinking about it much, but Percy did notice at some point that the railings were in fact decorated with human-like skulls. Percy hoped the giant was joking and that the skulls were fake, but if they were real, he only hoped they didn't belong to anyone he knew and cared about.
"And yours shall be next," the giant growled.
He stared in anger at the banner of Poseidon. How could this be a temple for his dad? Percy knew his dad well enough that he was a nice guy. Poseidon never asked for a Father's Day card, much less somebody's skull. "Percy!" Annabeth yelled. "His mother is Gaia, the mother of—" One of the Dragny women smacked her in the stomach with her spear, but Percy heard her perfectly. Percy learned that Gaia was the Earth goddess, who gave birth to the Titans. The idea of Percy's dad having a kid with his own unconscious grandmother, however that was even possible, gave an all-new meaning for ew. But the point was, Annabeth was trying to tell him the simple fact that this guy had two godly parents instead of one. That just made it harder to kill him. "You're crazy, Antaeus," he shouted. "If you think this is a good tribute, you don't know Poseidon at all." The crowd booed at Percy.
"Choose your weapon," Antaeus said, "and then we shall see how you die."
Was he messing with him? How could Percy choose a weapon? There was none inside the arena, and the Drachni took their weapons before they got here. Then immediately, he finally felt Riptide appear in his pocket again. He looked up at the giant and said, "I choose Anaklusmos." Some of the faces in the crowd turned nervous at the sight of the glowing bronze blade. The gates open, releasing a kid? He seemed about Percy's age, maybe a little older, and his left eye was covered with an eye patch. "Who are you?" Percy asked. "I am Ethan Nakamura, son of Nemesis, the goddess of revenge." Why are you doing this? I have to prove myself in order to join up, he answered.
Less talking and more killing already,
Antæus growled. And with that, he charged. Their swords met in midair. All this didn't seem right. Percy didn't want to have to kill this guy just to entertain a bunch of monsters. But Ethan was giving him no choice. He charged at Percy with a shield, but Percy jumped to one side. Ethan crashed face first into a wall and collapsed on the ground.
What are you doing?
Antæus complained.
Stand and fight!
Percy held his blade over Ethan's chest. Well, what are you waiting for? Ethan grunted. I'm not going to kill you, said Percy. Not for their entertainment. Don't be stupid, they'll just kill us both, Ethan said. Percy offered Ethan's hand, and he reluctantly took it.
No one dishonors the game, the giant growled. We shall have both their heads as tributes to Poseidon.
Percy looked at Ethan. When you see your chance, run, he told him. Then he looked back at the giant. Why don't you fight me yourself? If you got Dad's favor, bring your ugly giant butt down here and prove it. The monsters oohed in their seats. Antæus looked around and apparently realized he had no choice. He couldn't say no without looking like a coward.
I am the greatest wrestler that ever was, boy, he warned. I have been wrestling since the first pancreation.
Rachel was watching Percy with wide eyes. Annabeth shook her head as if begging Percy not to do it. The last Dragonian was still gripping her hair. Percy pointed his sword at Antæus and said, Winner takes all. If I win, we all go free. If you win, we die. Swear upon the river Styx. Antæus laughed.
This shouldn't take long. I swear on your terms.